My name is Mr. Cole, and this is Miss Golansky, my student teacher from Westminster College. I'm a fourth grade teacher at Laurel Elementary. You know, I had a professor who was my mentor at Westminster who once questioned, do we focus so hard on the mechanics of learning to read that we don't teach our children the wanting to read, the yearning to read? I think that this is what Dr. Seuss's mission was for his lifelong career as a writer and illustrator. He wrote silly things. He wrote things that had a great theme, but he gave the kids that yearning to read.
The fourth graders at Laurel Elementary School would like to present a biography by Dr. Seuss on this wonderful day, March 2nd, 2017. A famous quote written by Dr. Seuss: "The more that you read, the more things that you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go." Without further ado, please listen to the fourth graders as they share a story with you.
This is a biography of a great man who changed millions of lives and had many fans.
From his birth till his death, you'll learn many facts, facts upon facts, that's a fact.
So sit back and learn about Dr. Seuss and his family.
Dr. Seuss had many a name, from Theo to Theodore. They were all the same.
It's clear his childhood set the stage for his career as a writer at a high-paying wage. Born Theodore Geisel on March 2nd, 1904. Today he'd be 113 for sure.
Born in Springfield, Mass. He never played brass.
His father owned a brewery that was highly successful until Prohibition put a stop to it, making him restful.
His father invented goofy, complicated things in his spare time. Perhaps this is why Seuss had the same sort of inventiveness in his stories of rhyme. His mother's family owned a bakery. She rhymed all the different pies. He attributes this for his early love for rhyming that flies. Growing up, he loved the zoo. Theo would run home to draw what he saw. Wouldn't you, too?
His illustrations always turned out to be very imaginative, that's no doubt.
He went to Dartmouth College. He loved it there. He became a writer for the school newspaper and other small fare. The students loved his work. His writing was fun. He was voted least likely to succeed by his classmates. He was always looking for a pun.
His grades weren't that good. He didn't study like he should. After graduation, he studied and went to Oxford University upon his dad's request. He didn't last long there. He didn't do his best.
However, he did meet his future wife there. Helen was her name, not looking for fame. Helen convinced him to move back to NYC and draw and write and all that he could be.
It was in NYC that he started to work for Humor magazine Judge. When he got his job, he knew he could then marry to support his wife who had a canary. Not really, I just needed something to rhyme with Mary.
In 1936, Ted and Helen went on a boat trip. He started to write on the ship, swaying back and forth of the boat with rhythm around, helped his first book stay afloat. After 27 rejections, did you think that it was on Mulberry Street, was born in 1939. It was mighty fine. He did not write another book until after the war. Instead, he joined the army to help the nation soar.
He joined the army at 38. He was sent to Hollywood to make movies so new soldiers could be as good as they could.
He wrote 2 films about what the U.S. should do in Germany and Japan. They were loved by man. They both won Oscars.
After the war, he returned to writing. Horton Hears a Who was published after the fighting.
Around the same time, Helen turned terribly ill. Sue stayed beside her, right by the window sill.
She marveled at the doctors by recovering almost 100%. This was wonderful for Ted, for he could go back to writing to pay the rent.
A friend of his dared him to write a book a first grader couldn't put down. 225 words was all it took.
The Cat in the Hat was born in 1957. This book soared all the way to heaven.
Some adults hated it. Librarians would hide it. Teachers thought it was silly, but kids read it right beside it.
The bookstores couldn't keep it on the shelf. It was a smashing success all by itself.
Within 3 years, it sold over 1 million copies. This was unheard for readers with moppies. Sorry it rhymes, but it's silly, just like him, so don't be grim.
Then Ted won a bet to write a book only using 50 words. That's all it took. Green Eggs and Ham was its name. It remains his most popular book of all time, just the same.
In the 60s came The Grinch. That was a cinch, so popular that they made a TV special from it in 1966. For many generations, it has been a top pick.
He continued to write. Some were very silly, but many had messages for children named Billy.
Yertle the turtle was a regular turtle who learned to stand up for himself. This was a message appreciated by people, even though there was loud burping in the story heard by a steeple.
This Nietzsche's type story of acceptance for who you are. It too had a message that went very far.
Helen's responsible for answering his mail. She would sign it Dr. Seuss without fail. Although work was important, Helen and Dr. Seuss enjoyed entertaining friends. Ted always enjoyed playing practical jokes on his friends to no end.
Helen died in 1967. This depressed Ted so. He needed a companion to share his life with on the go.
Soon he married a woman named Audrey and soon began to write about a tree.
Dr. Seuss lived most of his adult life in a home at the end of a mountainside that overlooked the valley and ocean tide.
As the years passed, he saw many of his favorite trees being cut down to make room for homes and less beauty to see. This concerned him, and he felt a need to express his concern in a children's book, The Lorax. In 1989, The Lorax became Dr. Seuss's first book to be left off the shelf of a library and store. It was censored by loggers galore.
They felt the message of not cutting down trees was going to hurt their money-making industry.
In 1984, the Butter Battle book came out and also caused controversy.
Two groups made bigger and better weapons to fight each other. Some thought, how can I read this to my brother?
Dr. Seuss left it up to the reader, of course, to decide how the book should end with no remorse.
His second wife pointed out to Ted that he did not write books just for a kid, but for all humanity instead.
In the year of the Butter Battle book, Ted received the Pulitzer Prize that had never been given to a children's book writer. Surprise!
In 1990, Ted published All the Places You'll Go. He was 85 years old when it came out, I'm told.
It has become one of the most popular books to give as gifts for graduation. What a wonderful book to such celebration.
On September 24, 1991, Dr. Seuss died. It was a sad day for all, but his books continue to be read at every school and mall.
The students at Dartmouth College held a 24-hour reading event outside on the quad lawn with no tent. They read his books for 24 hours straight with all their classmates.
To prove that his death and our love for him, several movies from his books have been made with great acclaim to the rim.
From How the Grinch Stole Christmas to The Cat in the Hat, full-length movies packed movie theaters, that's a fact.
Hooray for Defendy for Day was a story they found after he died. It was interesting to see what was inside. Two super silly men named Jack and Lane added to its content, and illustrations were insane.
It was a story about a teacher who was creative and fun. The kids grew to like her, even her bun.
Teachers all around loved it too. Thank goodness they found it and published it for us to view.
They found more books to publish after his death. What kind of pet should I get was a sure bet.
He won Caldecott's, Emmys, Oscars, and Grammys, all for his lifelong work about every Tom, Dick, and Sammy.
The best award he could get was seeing us read one book to each other and planting the seed.
Some say he is gone, but we say he lives on.
His words and stories carry from generation to generation without an explanation.
His pictures are proof that imagination takes flight in every mind that is in sight.
Put it all together, and what do you get? A man who lived his life of children of all sizes and sets.
He'll be remembered for his wit and love for rhyme, teaching kids to read one child at a time.
Happy birthday, Dr. Seuss.
Happy birthday!